darkness. We're here to find answers. What spirits lie beyond? What caused their passing? The truth lies beyond, and we are here to find those answers. We are Pensacola Paranormal Research Group. Come with us.
And welcome back, everybody, to Did You Hear That? Pensacola Paranormal Podcast. And today's episode 10, we are now going to look at local hauntings here in Pensacola, Florida. This episode is entitled The Pensacola Lighthouse. So, the Pensacola Lighthouse. Let's take a look at what it's like at the Pensacola Lighthouse, the history, and some of the hauntings that carry on. Because for centuries, it's been a promise on the horizon, a beacon of safety for ships lost in the Gulf's darkness. But what if the light itself is the reason the lost can't move on? What if the tower built to save lives has become a permanent prison for the dead? Welcome to the city of Five Flags and Phantom Flashes. Today we are climbing 177 steps to the top of Pensacola's most infamous and certainly most haunted landmark, the Pensacola Lighthouse. This beacon, first built in 1859, isn't just a historical gem. It's a terrifying nexus of paranormal activity, so active, in fact, that it's been labeled one of the most haunted lighthouses in America and visited by every major paranormal team. It holds not one, but at least 6 resident spirits, including a protective keeper's wife, a handsy gentleman in the tower, and a little girl in the infamous Bloody Bedroom. And we're going to dive deep into the past of the tethered souls. To understand the hauntings, we need to go back before the current 1859 black and white tower was built. The original light station was built much earlier than that, in 1824. This is where our central tragedy begins. First keeper was Jeremiah Ingram, and he was assisted by his wife, Michelle. Michelle was known for her intense devotion to the lighthouse. It was more than a job to her, it was her passion. But while the light grew bright, the Ingram home grew dark. The couple was known to have bitter arguments fueled by stress and isolation on that lonely, windswept bluff. In 1840, Jeremiah Ingram died. The official story was that he succumbed to illness. However, the whispers started immediately. People pointed to the escalating tension between the couple. They said Michelle, who loved the light more than her husband, finally snapped. She allegedly stabbed Jeremiah to death with a butcher knife during a furious quarrel. Now, there is no evidence to this. This is just one of the stories that has been passed down. So Michelle attended the light until 1855, but the physical evidence of the struggle, they say, remained when the keeper's quarters were renovated decades later. Workmen stripped away layers of tile and found what appeared to be a large, dark bloodstain on the original pine floor. No amount of scrubbing or sanding would remove it. The room is now known as the Bloody Bedroom. That's just one layer. Property's location on what is now the massive Naval Air Station Pensacola has been exposed to Civil War conflicts, cannon fire damage to the tower, and a constant tragedy inherent in maritime history, shipwrecks, storms, and ravages of local epidemics. All of this history creates a tremendous amount of residual energy, making it an ideal spot for spirits to linger. The Pensacola Lighthouse doesn't just have one ghost, but it has an entire spectral crew. They haunt every level, from the base to the Fresnel lens. The Keeper's Quarters. Michelle Ingram is the dominant spirit in the Keeper's Quarters. Her presence is often described as intense, protective, and sometimes aggressive. Visitors touring the museum often report seeing her watching them, particularly if they are critical of the place or its history. She's been reported to throw small objects and even call out people's names in clear, sharp whisper. It's like she's still on duty, keeping her house and light free from unwelcome interference. The Bloody Bedroom. While the room holds the stain linked to Jeremiah's alleged murder, the presence is that of children, most notably the spirit of Ellen Mueller. Ellen was the daughter of a later lighthouse keeper. She grew up on the property, was married there, and sadly died in the upstairs bedroom due to complications from childbirth in 1911. Guests have reported hearing the unmistakable sound of childish giggling and playful whispers, the sound of a small girl running through the house. The energy in that room is often described as sad, but sometimes playful. If Ellen is still in her youth, running around. Now, let's talk about the tower itself. 177 dizzying steps of cast iron climbing the staircase is where many female visitors would encounter the spectral keeper known simply as Samuel. Samuel is a bit of a classic old school spectral flirt, but in a creepy way. Numerous women have reported feeling cold, unseen hands touch their arm, tug their hair, or even graze their shoulder as they ascend the stairs. Investigators have tried to debunk this with air currents and vibrations, but the feeling is too distant and personal for many. Samuel seems determined to make his presence known to the living. We're going to shift our look now at the basement and a spirit we call Thomas. Finally, we have the basement, the damp, stone-walled area where a different kind of tragic history resides. This area is haunted by a spirit named Thomas. He is believed to have been an enslaved person or a runaway who sought shelter on the grounds. Thomas was rumored to be exceptionally tall in life. Visitors rarely ever see Thomas fully, but they report seeing a looming, elongated shadow that quickly retreats into the darkness. Unlike Michelle, Thomas seems to be oppressed, forever hiding in the shadows of the earth. Now let's look at local lore. Because the Pensacola Lighthouse is so actively haunted, it's a popular destination for paranormal groups, from TAP's team to Sci-Fi Channel's Ghost Hunters. They've all visited and captured some startling evidence. That's right. On their episode, Keeper of the Light, they experience everything that the tour guide and visitors report. The documented strong temperature fluctuations, captured electronic voice phenomena, or EVP, and heard distinct sounds of footsteps on the staircase when no one living was in the tower. They even claimed to have captured a clear EVP response that sounded like the name Michelle. We also have a quick story from a local tour guide. Her name is Sarah, who used to run the late night hunts. So, Sarah had been working the full moon climb for years, and she's heard it all. But the most jarring thing that happened was when she had a large group halfway up the tower. She was checking the thermometer when 3 distant taps came from above of the metal trap door. Taps that sounded exactly like the clink, clink, clink of a heavy tool. The woman next to her gasped. She turned white as a sheet and asked, "Did you hear him tapping on the lens?" And they were completely alone upstairs. It's the consistency of the evidence that makes the lighthouse compelling. From the handsy spirits on the stairs to Michelle's possessive nature, the same stories have been reported for generations, regardless of who is acting as the keeper or the guide. The Pensacola Lighthouse is more than just a place where ghosts linger. It's a physical reminder of the heavy price paid for safety and solitude. The intense isolation of the lightkeeper's life, combined with a place that saw marital strife, tragic death in children, and the harsh realities of maritime war, has created a vortex of sorrow. The irony, of course, is that the light was meant to guide people home, but for Michelle and others, it seems to have become the very thing holding them back from their final rest. Whether you're a skeptic or a seeker, the story of the bloody bedroom and the whispers on the stairs is a core part of Pensacola's identity. If you visit, climb those 177 steps, feel the cold air in the keeper's quarters, and listen closely to the faint laughter of children. Just try to not upset the keeper's wife. On next week's episode, we are going to look at another Pensacola landmark, the old Sacred Heart Hospital. So until then, we hope you have enjoyed this episode, Pensacola Lighthouse, and we'll see you guys on the next episode